Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Crossover. Starring Josh Johnson and Chris McGill. Featuring Christina Thorson. And of course, you, the Instagram live chat. Now, sit back and enjoy this week's edition of The Crossover. Powered by Card Ladder.
Lefko is 12th. Slab Sanity is 69th.
Yo, that ain't no tie. That ain't no tie. He typed the 1. I wrote it out.
you want points for the full?
I thought that's what it was. I was told that's the rule.
Yeah, that is the rule.
Okay, if that's the rule. Oh, there, he just admits to cheating. Technically, I cheated. 1 shouldn't count. Gotta say first. Nice.
All right, now I'm never gonna try again. I was sitting here refreshing. I was like, I'm winning tonight. I don't care.
You're going out on top.
Yep, I'm out. Now I'm gonna be like the 30th person in here.
George says TGIF. Sorry, George, it's not Friday yet.
That means more people will be on tonight.
Yes, I think it does. Do you have mail days this week?
I bought a card a week ago, but it's in a vault, so I'll have it Q4. It's been 9 days since I bought it.
Only 9?
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Okay, well, I don't have any mail days either. Today is Thursday, July 20th. This is the final crossover before the National. Oh, somebody makes the point that it is Friday in the East Coast. That's true.
There you go. See?
Yeah. Yeah, no mail days on this side either. What about you, Christina? Do you have any mail days?
No, sir.
No mail days. All right. George is setting the peak viewer number at 86.5.
Wow. He thinks so highly of us.
Yeah, we've got a little ways to go. Maybe we could get a celebrity guest to join like the good old days and bring hundreds and thousands of new viewers. All right.
The Rock? Like hundreds of thousands?
Hobby celebrity.
Like Kim Kardashian? Oh, okay. All right. Well, then I'm not sure. I don't think we'll get anyone that many.
I don't think so either. So this is gonna be I think we're going under. All right. Okay. Announcement wise, we have some information about the Card Ladder booth at the National. But I'll mention it, and then Christina, you can add if you have anything to add. There will be things given away at the Card Ladder booth at the National. Wait, she's adding before I even got done.
I forgot I didn't know where you were going with
all right,
this.
Here's where I'm going with this. The Card Ladder booth will be next to PSA's booth.
Yes.
But not inside of it. It's next to it.
Yes.
And we will have some cool things we're giving away. Do you want to say what it is that you can get, or should they wait?
I mean,
it's not that cool.
We could probably announce it because, like, I doubt anyone else would be able to get it in time.
She's worried about her idea being stolen.
You know what? I am, because people in this hobby are shiesty fuckers. So.
Woo. Okay, well, do you have an example? So first of all, if you're at the National and you need to charge your phone, there will be a charging station there.
Card Ladder will be a charging station.
And maybe some chairs?
We will have a few stools for you to sit down and hang out with me. I'll be there the whole time. And, come sit down, rest your feet, your weary feet, charge your phone. And then we will also have power banks and Card Ladder branded plugs.
This is being given away.
For you to take, but there's a limited number per day. So you have to be the first 100 every day. Otherwise, you get nothing.
Fair.
Oh.
All right. So yeah, come see Christina. There's a good chance she'll be the only one there.
There's a 100 and out of 100 chance I will be the only one out of there.
All right. Any other announcements that we should make?
I don't.
I can't go another second without asking what is behind you.
What, this bag?
It's like a hand reaching down to get a oddly shaped watermelon.
It's a pepper.
Like a banana-shaped watermelon.
It's a Trader Joe's back.
Okay, well, it's incredibly distracting. I need Christmas lights, not that.
Well, get used to that hand because that's Christina's Trader Joe bag, and she's got a deal in the background with them.
Yeah.
Well, now that I know it's Trader Joe's.
Now.
Yeah, you guys are like so posh with your Trader Joe's now. I get it. You're too cool. Like, you went right past Whole Foods and you went straight to Trader Joe's.
Okay.
We graduated from the dollar store.
I can't afford Whole Foods, so I go to Trader Joe's.
Whole Foods is unbelievably expensive. I can't buy anything there.
And we have our first episode title submission, Oddly Shaped Watermelon. People are going to think they're going to think that's a remark about my head.
Did you talk about your appearance on Cajun Cardboard as an announcement?
I did not, but one of the early questions is about his MJ Hierarchy series, so let's save it for that. And we'll mention it there. Okay. All right, let's get into some questions because there was a decent number tonight, and they were good too. I'd give these questions a high score.
Wait,
Whoa, nice.
Before we move on, Ginger says, what does Christina offer for the lime green disco cleva at the National? And I will have cash on hand, and I will pay you out at that moment with a large reward. Plus, David Marino, I'm announcing this, David, so tough. David Marino has a bounty on this card that includes a flight, a 2-night stay in Miami, and like dinner or something like that. So you will get a vacation to Miami and cold hard cash if you bring me that card at National.
I need to start looking at this goddamn card. I want to go to Miami.
Nice. All right. Well,
I didn't care when it was just. I didn't care when the prize was just Christina's happiness. Now that Miami's on the line, things have changed.
Right. The stakes keep going up for this. Someone damn card. All right. Okay. Now we get into the questions here. So first question from 612 Gems. Please discuss Fanatics events and what that means for the National and other card shows going forward.
Do we have any more details other than the fact that they're going to do something?
Nope.
Yeah, we do. They named their CEO of Fanatics Events, and this person was previously running New York City's Comic-Con, and Fanatics Events will begin doing things next year. There may have been more details, but those are the main ones that I saw in this like press release style information that got pushed out.
It'll be interesting to see if they try to do it in the summer to compete with National. I still see the National going on as the major show, at least for a few years, and potentially this one could surpass. I don't know. It's hard to say. It depends on how they execute, like, once again, yet another topic of Fanatics where we're, like, prejudging on something they haven't done yet,
100%. Yeah. I mean, like, Fanatics Live recently launched, but that didn't stop Whatnot and Loop and the other live selling platforms, Card Shop Live, that didn't stop them from continuing to operate. So Fanatics coming in just means that there's a really big player to compete against now. I mean, look, if you're a stakeholder in this hobby, on some, whether you're a breaker or a business owner or an investor in a business, or almost everybody at some point, if it hasn't happened already, it probably will. Fanatics is going to come into your comfort zone. They are putting a tentacle in every aspect of this hobby. So I have some sympathy for probably how scary it is, honestly, to have Fanatics come in, right? So
Fanatics ladder.
yeah, exactly. Fanatics ladder. Okay, but there's not much else to say about Fanatics events, really. Like, I think it was not a coincidence that they announced this 2 weeks before the national.
Yeah.
Uh,
I'll add that, like, my only complaints about the current national, I don't have many because I really enjoy it. My only complaint is that it has kind of shifted to more of like a corporate feel the last couple of years. Just born out of, the increase in the overall attention on the space from investors and, industry leaders and business people. And I don't see Fanatics moving away from that. In fact, I see them as being more of a corporate event. So I'm not going to just immediately say it's going to be better just based on the name. It depends on what's more suited for me as a collector. And I mean, if it's more collector based and less corporate, then I would like it better.
Yeah, and that reminds me of another detail that was offered when news broke about this. IMG is a partner in Fanatics events, and they were a partner in the production of the 2 Mint collectives that happened. So Mint Collective, that's a sampling of what IMG has contributed to event-wise in the hobby so far. Not sure if that means much going forward, but
could be more like talks mixed with it and stuff like that.
Yeah,
panel.
Possibly. A lot of emphasis on
B2B.
Well, yeah. See, and that's not, the Mint was very B2B, business to business, and I'm not sure that Fanatics will look to do that.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't think they're looking to do that. But I think like the Mint had some cool booths and some nice signage and a nice venue. And I think that's going to be something that Fanatics Events wants for sure, is a nice looking aesthetic for those.
Right. Yeah. National has kind of had this, I mean, it's a nice show, but it has had a little bit of a stigma that it's a little bit smelly, I'll say.
Right. Okay, well, let me use that to transition this next question here, which is Perimeter Collectibles says, as people get more and more frustrated with the National Sports Collectors Convention's leadership choices, parentheses, location, dealer selection process, and otherwise, how much of a threat are Fanatics and the Burbank Card Show to unseating the monopoly of the National?
Mm-hmm. I mean, are we just saying that, like, the opinions of people are going to shift and this show will have more interest? To me, it just seems like, we'll just have two really big shows if everything works out for Fanatics. I just don't see people not going to National anymore. I don't see it where it's like, oh, National is basically a Dallas card show now, and I've pivoted my national trip over to Fanatics. It's just like the branding of National itself is already too strongly ingrained in the hobby. But I get it. People are frustrated with all this stuff. I've heard a lot of complaints about the booth sharing changes and priority for who's getting a booth based on status and or how long you've had a table and stuff like that. So I don't know.
Yeah. And the other thing that I've heard some displeasure about is what the Lucky Show 05. Welcome back, G, to the hobby. He sent in the comment, please discuss Atlantic City and what this special place means to the hobby. Okay, so
someone had a poll that was like, where do you want the show? And there was more than 0% that voted Atlantic City. What?
Yeah. Apparently there are some people on the East Coast who like it.
Okay, Chicago's not that far for you. I'm coming from the West Coast. Everything's incredibly far. Just go a little bit further. Even if I lived in Jersey, I wouldn't want to go to Atlantic City.
Yeah, no, I know.
If I lived in Atlantic City, I wouldn't want to go to Atlantic City.
I wasn't going to say that because then it's like, well, you probably live in Atlantic City for some reason,
Fair. Well, yeah, I mean, apparently there was a poll, a different poll than the one you mentioned, was sent around to some of the dealers or something.
Yeah.
Asking people, do you prefer the 2026 National to be Chicago, Atlanta, or Atlantic City? And the tough part about Chicago is that if they pick Chicago for 2026, 2025 and 2027 are already in Chicago. So you would have 3 straight years. It's like, okay, Chicago's probably out. And then Atlanta, there's never been I'm not aware of any national that has happened in Atlanta.
Isn't Atlanta like really dangerous?
So it is in Chicago.
But it's not in Chicago. It's in a suburb.
Right.
Atlanta's convention centers are downtown or at the like university. So it's like which one? Like,
well, we'll give them the benefit of the doubt that they would pick a safe location. So there's Atlanta, and then there's then there's Atlantic City, and so I don't know if anybody loved any of those three choices.
Yeah.
Then it leaked out from the convention center's website, I think. That
I saw
the National was going to be in Atlantic City.
That's taken down now.
It's down now? Okay. All right. So maybe it was a mistake. It was a clerical error.
David, I liked AC.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, there's no way. I just don't have any problems with Rosemont. So, like, if they did it there every year, I just, like, wouldn't complain. I would love it. I put my hat in for Indianapolis. I was in that area, and I was at that convention center. It was massive, and it was a really nice area. It was right by the Colts Stadium. The area was super nice. It was close to the airport. I don't know. Throw my hat in. Why are we stuck between, like, three cities? Maybe I don't understand how this works.
Mohammed says Atlantic City put in a mega bid.
Well, I think, did you remember this where people were talking about how Atlantic City, it's basically free for them to set up at Atlantic City. Like, Atlantic City puts up the money to just, they want people there so badly that they just pay for it, the whole thing.
Well, because we bring in, like, tourism and stuff, like, all the people who come in.
Yep.
Right.
All right.
No one wants to be there.
Yeah, why isn't
except for David.
Why isn't it ever in LA? Isn't LA kind of a big city?
A little bit, yeah. One of the biggest in North America, basically.
I don't love Vegas. Vegas is cool, but there's just too much distractions, and it's kind of hard to get into the city. It's like hard to navigate that city. I'm sure we could find something in like Inglewood, LA. There's so many cities. Anaheim.
Plus, Las Vegas currently has an excessive heat warning.
Yeah, so does Arizona. I think we just broke the record for most days in a row of 110 plus.
Yeah, so let's not all this okay, so the National starts on Wednesday. Wednesday is 109. A temperature
Okay.
a high of 109. Then Thursday is 111, Friday is 112, Saturday is 112, Sunday is 112.
I didn't say Vegas. I said, I meant like if I suggested Los Angeles, people would then say, why don't you just do Vegas? And I'm getting ahead of that and saying I would prefer San Diego is in the chat. Lefko says San Diego. That would be fantastic.
Yeah, exactly. No, I'm with you. I'm backing up your point that Vegas is out.
What about Dallas?
Dude, the temperature situation is the same. It's it's awful.
So it's got to be on the coasts or the east.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Yes, indeed. All right. Speaking of the high weather there in Arizona, WTF Frankie podcast says, how does Josh check his mail for his LeBron mail days when it's been 110 or more degrees outside?
My mailman knows that if it's a signature package to come to my door, I mean, he obviously has to for that, but hopefully it's something signature related and they have to come to my door and I don't have to go to the mailbox. Because my mailbox is like literally a 5-minute walk from my house.
Oh, geez.
So like when I do have mail, it's like I could feel the hairs burning on my arms for real.
Because your mailbox isn't at the end of your driveway is what you're saying.
No. It's like a community mailbox.
Walk.
Oh.
No, I don't have a 5-minute walk.
He has a 5-minute winding driveway.
No. We have like one of those like community mailbox things.
You don't have to worry about shoveling snow on that 5-minute driveway.
True. I don't even know what shoveling snow is.
That's good.
I'm going to post my social security number here in a second, Justin. Just hang around. When you post, Christina sent me the picture of the Chargers. Like, 0.1 milliseconds later, my brain was like, wow, Justin's going to love that.
Oh, I hadn't told Justin, and he was here afterward. So.
Nice. We have
National. How about the National on a cruise ship?
That would actually be kind of fun, but I don't think there's a cruise ship big enough for everyone.
I think 5-minute long driveway has to be a title
Yeah,
contender.
let me write that down. I think we already have the winner from earlier, actually, but that's a good one.
If nothing else, just remind us of the show's
Yeah.
winding trail.
Agreed. This show is like the 5-minute driveway of the hobby content landscape.
Just gets you way off path.
Okay, all right. Like the Gronk cruise. Okay. All right. Card Shop Dad says Cajun Cardboard's Michael Jordan card hierarchy videos are what the people want, right? What are your thoughts on those videos?
It's the best content I've seen in a year or I don't know.
Good.
It's amazing. I was soaking up every second of it.
It's good stuff. Yeah. So I was on there he brought me in for tier 2. So
You talked to tier 1?
I did talk about tier 1, but I was assigned to discuss tier 2. So I made it to tier 2.
Well, you know, you did follow Nat, so I wouldn't be too bummed about it.
Correct. Yes. Nat, if anybody was deserving of tier 1, it is definitely Nat. He did a great job of getting Nat to come on and talk about Michael Jordan cards for like an hour. That's some good stuff.
Well, he's like, which of these cards do you have, Chris? And you rattled off an impressive number of them, and they're like, Nat, which of these do you not have? And he's like, ooh. The starting 5 because they're all fake,
Yeah.
and that one doesn't even count, kind of.
Only one because I literally can't have it.
Yeah, that one. I was as a collector and someone that has lots of opinions and someone that's made content, I was just screaming at everyone talking with all of what I wanted to say, and I think that's what makes good content. Is I want to interject and I want to say my opinions. I thought you did a nice job though. Your episode was really good.
It was fun. It was fun to discuss, and there's still some more. I mean, there's still some more.
I've been messaged. I got some messages from people, and I'm supposed to come at you about this hand number serial list.
Yeah. Okay.
Hand
So
number serial.
I have 2 questions about this that were formally submitted, and now a few more from the chat. So.
And I've got personal ones that need to be addressed. Apparently, they're go at him today. Get him.
Okay. Good. All right. So let's go. So MXO Card says, please discuss hand serial numbering. LOL. Very polite. And disarming. And then our friend Mark Sweat47 says, let's talk about your terrible take on hand serial numbered cards.
What was Justin's?
Justin on, and he can debate you live.
Yeah.
Well, let me say some things, and then we'll see if Justin even wants to come on, because it will be.
What did he say? His story was hilarious. He was something about wrath. It was pretty angry.
It was angry, but look, I like when people get passionate about their card takes.
Well, let me give you a place to launch from,
Yeah.
because I have some beefs with the show itself in this regard. I don't think he ever asked you what specifically you don't like. We just sort of brushed over it that you don't like it, but you didn't really say why.
Yeah. So, I just don't like the way it looks. So that's one thing. Then 2, I will give you. All right, look. Some people are going to say I'm taking off the gloves by doing this, but
I don't own any hand serial. I own one. I own a grand finale, so I won't be offended. You can go.
Which is a great card, with or without the hand numbering, and it's half hand numbered and half not, right? So that's cool. Oh man, where did this go? There. Okay, so the thing that worries me about hand numbering, I think my example got taken down from eBay. it didn't. Okay. So here's the thing that worries me about hand numbering. And it worries me about all numbering in general, but especially about cards that leave a space for hand numbering. So this is listed on eBay right now. It's the 1997 Upper Deck Great 8 Michael Jordan insert. An underrated insert, if I may say so. Numbered to 800 from playing years. Looks pretty cool. This one is numbered 23 out of 800, which is just a miracle, right?
Yeah.
Like just a great.
What are the odds?
Yeah. What are the odds? Being offered by an account with an 85.7% positive feedback.
So is that a erased and changed, or backdoor non-serial numbered copy, or what do you think?
Well, that's the question. All right, that's the question. But this card is actually supposed to be stamped. All right.
Oh.
So it's just it's a big what if. But like that's one thing I worry about. All right, it's like when it's written by hand, I can't think of an easier scenario to just wipe it off and put
that wasn't even discussed on the show. So now I have some context. That's a good reason.
Yep. Thank you. And then I want to make. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I'll just super quick. I never liked the buyback one of one, like where they write the one of one over a card that was never supposed to be serial numbered. But I always thought what we're talking about is different from that, where it's like the right side is stamped and the left side is handwritten.
Right. Yes. Yep. And that's fair. So, but then the other thing that I want to say is, and this is probably going to be news to a lot of people in the pro hand numbering camp. You guys know the athlete didn't write that number, right?
Say more about that. Maybe just to make sure you drive that home.
Well, okay. On Grand Finale, great card, Tier 1 Jordan Grail, without a question. So I'm not trying to take too much away from Grand Finale, just knock it down a little bit. The Michael Jordan didn't write 3 of 50 on there. Okay, yes, like South Park Card says, Carbon did, or somebody at Upper Deck wrote the number.
Was that ever up for debate?
I wonder if there is the lingering. I don't. Okay, I'm being facetious. I think no, most people don't think that, but okay. I do wonder if there are some people who think that. Yes,
because I feel like the handwriting is the same on all of them, no matter what player.
Right. It was just one person whose job was just to have a consistent style.
And the guy whose job that was like, why the fuck didn't we print these on like these other ones? Why the fuck am I doing this?
I numbered cards last year.
Yes, she did. So that's what I also wanted to say. We also want to say that we don't.
It was god awful.
We don't want to be hypocrites. Card letters cards that it gave out the National last year were numbered.
I remember you dummies writing all those down.
You mean me? I was sitting in the hotel room while y'all were hanging out and having fun.
And let me show you the other problem. That's disturbing. So look, Christina did this, right? Oh no, I accidentally turned off my camera. Okay, Christina did this, right? All right, so here's number 1 of 500. Here's number 1 of 500.
No, they're all different cards, bud.
Oh.
Oh, I thought you were gonna show 23 out of 500s. Oh, guys,
false alarm.
No,
everybody's like,
different cards. They're different variations.
This is one of the problems. I secured all of the handwritten 001s of 500 of each of the cards.
Yep, and I got a 6 of 100, I think.
Yes.
Nice. And here's the other thing, all right? That's the con of why I don't really like the hand serial numbered. The pro of the stamp is that it looks really cool. That's the pro. And sometimes it can be embossed. So you can when you run your finger over the back of the card, you can feel the stamp on the card. And then today, the numbering is the way that Panini has done the 1 of 1. Sometimes it's this cursive 1 of 1. Sometimes with numerals. Sometimes they spell it out, sometimes on the front, sometimes on the back. They've really mastered the stamp. But somebody made the point the other day that they do like the Recollection collection or the Panini Honor stuff where they do have hand numbered on like buyback cards or cards that get issued outside of the main release. Yeah. And I kind of do like that too. I have one Recollection collection card that's hand numbered 1 of 1 next to an autograph, and it does look pretty cool. But it makes sense for that because like there's not a stamp on that card because it never got released. So like instead of putting a stamp on something that was supposed to be a backup copy, it feels like what it's supposed to feel like. It feels like a backup copy when they hand number it.
Can I give you the other side of this since there's no one to support the hand numbering? Yes,
you should because we don't want the hand numbering crowd to be voiceless here.
Well, I feel like the hand numbering is basically a lost art. I don't think Panini does that at all, do they? Other than like some random, like the out of 8 stuff and like the McCaffrey 1-on-1 you have, like stuff like that, where it's super edge case type stuff.
Exactly.
So because it's sort of a lost art, I kind of appreciate that there are some of these like relics in the past where it does still exist, and it's kind of a neat thing to see. Like it doesn't bother me enough to not collect it, and it's just kind of a neat little piece of history that I think is cool to have. That's my take on it. Like I would prefer it to be stamped, I guess, like just aesthetically, like you said, and from a consistency standpoint, and having my collection have like all these, consistent stamps would be nice. But, it's just grand finale, profiles, dimensions, like these kind of like not super important cards. So because of it, it just kind of makes it a little bit neat.
Yes, totally valid point. But yeah, hand numbering is garbage.
Jeez.
No, I'm just joking. No, I get it. I do get it. But like sometimes, sometimes I'm not going to ride the fence. I'm going to take a side.
Would you trade one of your Flair legacies for a grand finale, MJ?
Obviously, yes.
No, not obviously. These cards suck. Not obviously.
No, they are. Grand finale is better than either of the legacies that I own. I have the 96 row 2 and the 97 row 1. I would trade both of them for a grand finale.
Because of the value of the card, the like status of the card, the serial number doesn't bother you enough?
Well, no card's going to be perfect,
Yeah. That's all I wanted you to say. Like,
yep.
You're not just like, oh, it's got a hand serial number, fuck this card. It's like, nope, it's another factor that it reduces my liking of the card.
Fair enough. Yeah, no, it just really boils down to like, look, I am more of an analytics guy, but I'm going with the eye test on this one. I just don't like the way it looks. That's really what it boils down to. Like, I can come up with other stuff too, but I just don't like the way it looks.
Well, I feel like go ahead.
I was just going to, Justin would like you to explain where your quote, the back of the grand finale, end quote, came from.
Because I looked at it.
Nowhere.
No, it's always been there. It's just been hidden. But I looked at it and I just hated how it looked. That's all.
Have you seen the Penny Hardaway, the back of the grand finale?
Is it different?
No, I just like the photo. If just go to my showcase and like look at search Hardaway. It's kind of just like a funny little side note. But I feel like I did my part defending some people in the hobby who are upset about this. Yes, I hope I did okay.
You did. You don't have a picture of the back.
Oh, damn it. Well, he's wearing like the most ridiculous 90s outfit ever.
Nice.
Ben, cross country runner, wants to know would you rather prefer the football grand finales, which have no numbering at all?
Ooh, see, that's tough.
Nope.
Tough. No, I still would rather. Well, yeah, no. I mean, are they also printed to 50? I don't know much about that set. Are they printed to 50 and they just have no number? Even still, I prefer a serial number, even if it's chicken scratch from an employee. Than no number.
Man, that's good. Well, I think let's go back to the hierarchy. Do you have any other questions on the hierarchy? I feel like that needs more time. We spent more time on the damn hand serial number than the overall series of videos?
Well, first of all, he put Brian and Josh Dawson and Frankie 3500 put a lot of work into coming up with the information and background and pack odds. And then Brian himself dove deep into market data. He went and got pictures of everything. He has like a 40-minute video explaining the parameters of this project.
Such a lawyer.
And it is, yes. And if anybody dare to go outside those parameters in the comments, he will politely but swiftly direct you to the rules. So I understand why he did.
Great. Which is great. Otherwise, it's fucking the Wild West.
It is great. And he anticipated that. So well done, Brian, on making some rules and sticking to them. And he says, look, he's like, these rules might not be everybody's rules. And my ranking certainly won't be everybody's ranking. And I get that in advance. And let's not just like we can have great debates about the list. He's like, you don't have to, in no way, shape, or form do you have to take his list as the list. You don't have to do that.
We shouldn't lose the content just because it's not going to be perfect for everybody, Yeah,
exactly. And then, so it's a great project, but I'm like, and a lot of us in Jordan collecting are very familiar with these cards, and many aren't, but like a lot of us know about the PMGs and the Rubies, Grand Finale, and a lot of us know about Noise Boys and the big inserts and stuff. And he's made a really nice collection of this information for new people, for people who just want to revisit it and think about it. But what would also be a cool video series would be somebody who could teach me, do a similar project, but have the invert one of the rules or a few of the rules. Make somebody do this project except Michael Jordan autographed cards only.
Yes.
And don't make it limited to playing years.
Yep.
And teach me about that category of Michael Jordan cards, because myself and a lot of others don't know much about it.
Yep. The first thing that I thought of after finishing some of these videos was like, I really want this for LeBron. I want it for gold, separate from autographs, separate from Panini era. I want it, just like you said, I want to see it for autographs for MJ now. I want someone like Justin who knows the MJ autograph stuff better than you guys know the 90s and can do that and be really specific and get into the details, because you guys know so much about that 90s stuff and we can learn. And you guys are rattling off all these different inserts that, frankly, I know I've seen all of those. I know of all of them because of the Penny Hardaway stuff. But when you see it all sort of in one continuous flow like that, you're like, wow, there's so much more than I can really process at once. And it's just so cool to see them all lined up.
Yeah. But
yeah, you're right. There's a big appetite for this to be branched off into many different categories.
Yeah. Why can't this be done? Nice. Justin's already at work on it. Okay. Why can't this be done for other categories of Michael Jordan cards? Another category that I would love to learn more about is the lost upper deck cards.
Yep.
Those 1998, 99, 2000 upper deck sets that feature tons of Michael Jordan cards. Love for somebody to break that stuff down and rank it all and help me think about it. And then, but how about not just other categories of Jordan, but how about why doesn't every player have this?
Yeah.
That every player that somebody passionately collects, why doesn't that exist?
There's been some good content around sets, but I feel like the current modern collector, and I'm mostly speaking for us, this is kind of where it's shifted, but I feel like the player stuff is a bit more interesting for us and a bit more relevant to the modern collector. So you're right, it should be every player. Not only that, but not only teaching you about the history of this stuff, but as someone coming in, and you and Brian touched on this a lot, which was like I'm coming into the Michael Jordan space. I don't want you to tell me necessarily what to buy and in what order and what's the most valuable, but I at least now know all my options, right? Yeah. And I've got some sort of guideline of what the hobby treats as far as a ranking, which is important. It's you might say it's not important, you know, buy the grade, not buy the card, not the grade, buy what you like, all that stuff. But having something that's respected by the community around you is incredibly valuable and important. So if I know how you guys rank MJ cards, and I'm sort of torn between two, and you've got one in tier 1 and one in tier 2, and all things equal, I'm going to go after the tier 1 because now I'm sort of more accepted in the community. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And there's so much to learn on this topic. There's just so much information out there that's waiting to be organized and processed, and it will stimulate markets. It will make people feel more confident and more knowledgeable about collecting cards. I'm quite sure of that.
I think this content is way more impactful to the long-term market health, whatever you want to say, like the long-term values of stuff, way more than the traditional like flip content or like, you know, invest garbage top 5. Like this stuff is just because it speaks more to here's sort of a path to take to build a collection and hold it, you know, and like this is how you were to build something for the long term. And it just is like a more healthy long-term approach that I like. So
100%. And here's another thing too that I'll throw out there. That's like a little bit negative or scary, but that's fine. With Michael Jordan cards, okay, this isn't so much of an issue, and it won't be with LeBron cards or Kobe cards or players in that level for the most part, because like the hierarchy of those cards is already pretty well known. Like there's good reasons have been established and thought through and fleshed out for why certain cards are the most coveted. But I think as people undertake these projects and look into maybe more obscure things that they weren't really thinking about, because at the end of the day, how do people even decide what cards to think about? Because I'll tell you, for me, the thing that puts a card on my radar is it comes up for auction somewhere, or it's listed for sale on eBay, or I see a collector post about it on Instagram, or if I'm really into something, I'm doing a deep dive and I'm looking at all this player's cards, you know, or like I've seen a video that a hobby content creator or a breaker or somebody put out and it shows the card and it looks cool and I like it. But these, and I have to be honest with myself, these are not the optimal ways to learn about a card. It's fun and it's practical and it works, and it's worked and helped us so far a lot. But I think when people dig into projects like this, they're going to find stuff that doesn't make sense. And the reason it doesn't make sense is completely arbitrary. You know, people might discover like a card or a set or a product or who knows, a parallel that like, why, like this checks all the boxes. It looks great. It's low numbered, whatever. You know, this card is just being overlooked for arbitrary reasons. And it kind of, you know, I think like there will be some of that discovery, and it's unsettling. I've had it happen to me. It's unsettling to an extent when you sort of like dig in and you're like, oh man, I've sort of been collecting shooting from the hip, and I should have been aiming from a much more strategic shooting mechanics. Okay. So just some food for thought there too. Like, don't be alarmed or unsettled if projects like this end up discovering that parts of our market actually don't make sense.
Right. Yeah, and it's a little bit scattered around, and there's not really like a central place to kind of really organize this. This is like one of the first attempts really to kind of put it all on paper and spreadsheet, and even then it's like you got to watch the video basically, right? There's not like a site where you can go to.
Right. Exactly. And then when you get into making lists like this, like Brian, you know, sort of tiered it off, you know, but like when, you know, but if he had to rank them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, now you have to really like come up with reasons and arguments.
So those aren't ranked? Those are, like, they kind of looked ranked.
They were not ranked. It was just like, here's 27 in tier 1, because just 3 rows of 9. And then tier 2 is 6 rows of 9, but they're not ranked like 1 through 27.
Will the green just happen to be top left and the starting 5 just happen to be bottom right?
Yeah, I mean, I think he put in the bottom right. He put ones that he was least confident in.
Well, I think what you're saying is like the first ones he thought of, he started typing them out, and that's how he ended up doing it. But you usually think of that, and it kind of ranks itself when you do it that way, but not 100%.
Yeah, it's like that's where it gets tough. Is like all of a sudden you're like, why is?
I think you should try to rank them. Because, like, if you're already going to get yelled at about, like, oh, tier 2, this is bullshit, should have been, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
You might as well just rank them then, because people are going to have problems with the list no matter what you do.
Totally. Yeah, so then it's like, then you get to a point where all of a sudden, like, if I was doing this for, like, Jokic or something, all of a sudden I have to, like, be able to explain why is Prism better than Select?
I think more that I would rank them. This isn't a criticism on the show. It would make the video so much longer and you have to do so many more episodes, and I get why he didn't rank them, but now I want to see them ranked as a separate piece.
100%, man. And rankings is when people really get fired up too. Like if there was a countdown of like, and plus infinite content out of this, right? But like, you know, he did a video for 30 through 25 and all the way down to, you know, 5 through 1. And then that's where people are going to get, like, you know, all right, enough. It's a great series by Brian. Lots of people are enthusiastic about it. And I think it's going to spawn some more great stuff, too. So here's a question that spins off that's related to this, from Ankesh, AA Collectibles.
The Frazier question coming up.
Frazier? I didn't see a Frazier question.
Isn't that a spinoff?
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yes, it is. All right. The Frazier question here is, Ankesh says, most content creators, parentheses, and I use that term loosely, are entirely reactive and unoriginal to the point of it being repetitive. Furthermore, they tend to push the same few talking heads and the same few talking points. For each of you, what is one under-focused or under-covered hobby narrative that you would appreciate being discussed more in hobby content?
By those people that are doing that, or just anybody?
Anybody.
Okay, good, because, I mean, it's just more of this.
Exactly.
Like, you said that's a spinoff because you knew I would just be like this?
It's related, yeah, because I came up with 3. I came up, and my third one was ranking card stuff. Ranking card content is great. Okay.
What about like ranking your own collection over and over and over?
No, I would avoid that.
Please stop.
Because like here's what I wrote down.
Like I'm just a PSA right now, like a public service announcement. Please stop. Like do that yourself in the privacy of your own home. We're good.
Okay, all right. So I said when it came to ranking cards, I said, but it has to be done in a way that's objective and fair and realistic. Right.
How do you do that?
So the thing that it can't be is it can't be a guy buys up a bunch of something and then makes videos about how underrated it is. And it's designed to increase the value. Like it can't be that. All right. I don't want that. I want something that's like you can use some market data, something that's objective that isn't.
I have a question.
Yeah.
What if someone were to make this list, do you think that this is like some sort of journalistic approach where that person has to get more sources and sort of gather up a list, comprised from multiple people, or is it their own sort of list?
Man, that's a great question. I think both ways can work, but in either event, in order for it to be credible and for me to want to like watch it, it should be done like how Brian did it, where like
multiple
Brian
people
went out and got the opinions of others, and he also like looked at market data, and he sort of said like he had like 4 factors, and market data was one of the factors, and he like, look, he's not going to put a $5,000 card on a higher tier than a $100,000 card. Like he's sticking to certain factors that he looks at.
But price is an easy factor to not ignore, because that means lots of people want it. It's just like, right. It's easy to say like, oh, let's just go off pure aesthetics and ignore value. Well, value is part of everything, because that's how much people want to pay for it. Yeah. Like if a bunch of people are willing to pay $1 million, that probably means it's a really good card.
Absolutely. Okay, so the other two types of content for me would be, one is like narrative collector content, which like we used to do on the House of Jordans podcast sometimes, which is just this. It's like, hey, here's my story. I found this card, on Facebook Marketplace one day. And then I met up with the guy at the local card show or a flea market or a garage, or a parking lot at Walmart or something, all things that we've done. And then we did a deal for the card, and like we talked for 15 minutes afterwards, and it was a nice experience. And he's going to look out for me, and I'm going to look out for him from now on. And here's why I thought this card was important and worth doing this for. Here's where, I think why I think it's important, why it matters. And here's how it fits into my collection. And here's how I might need to change my collection. So maybe I have to sell a few cards to get like that type of content, just narrative collector content, walking me through things that you wouldn't even think to walk me through, but like walk me through the whole thought process and the experience of it and the highs and the lows and how it worked out. Like that's content that I think I wouldn't be able to get enough of.
Yeah, especially when that story comes from like pre 2018 or 20, because when it wasn't necessarily as cool to do something like that, like what motivated you to do that for this card when seemingly like the masses didn't care about it and it was a very small niche thing to do? Like what made you drive 100 miles to go pick up a piece of cardboard? That's always fascinated me, and we know why, right? Like we have the same reasons we love doing it, but I just we love hearing the stories of it.
Yeah, 100%, man. And it's like I found that after doing content like that, it really taught me more about myself as a collector. It made me think about stuff in a way that I would have never thought about it deliberately. But like doing that content, taught me a lot about collecting, about myself. The other category that I had was content that teaches me something new or that gives me a new perspective about a cool card. So doesn't need to be ranking, but just, hey, I discovered this set, or I'm a big fan of this parallel or something like that. That can be useful too. But again, it should be objective. It should be based on more. There should be a mix of reasons why that goes beyond just I have 100 of them.
So you basically want House of Jordans, Cardboard Chronicles, and Wax Museum, and all our favorite pods.
Yeah, did you notice that? Yeah, I noticed that too.
Yeah, I just want somebody to recreate our podcast. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Yeah Man Card says, how often should somebody post on their card Instagram account? Should every card they own be on there? How do you guys choose what to post and how often to post?
I'm a big believer that you should be posting, if not all, as many mail days as possible, and then not reposting. I mean, you can repost, given maybe like a year or something, and relive that content, re-present it in a different way where you're thumbing through it in a one row, or there's different creative ways to repost stuff without looking like a douchebag. But I think you should be posting more cards that you pick up. I think it's great content. You can't ever go wrong with it, really. Yeah,
100%. Yeah, I agree. I guess maybe the dude, I have so many cards I haven't posted. Like I'll show them as mail days on our show, or like maybe if I'm just like feeling cute, I'll take a picture of it on the balcony or something and put it to my story. but other than that, hey, is Stiff Arm Wax still in the chat, by the way? Has he still been?
He hasn't been talking.
No. I hope I didn't accidentally kick him off when I tried to make him a moderator.
I think you really pissed him off with that hand numbering thing.
Ah, that got his goat. Yeah. Because I'm waiting. Like, I know there's been some more titles here, but I think we actually already have the title. So, all right. There he is. All right. Stiff, what's up? We haven't gotten any good titles yet in the last 45 minutes. Okay.
Get to work.
All right. Yeah, because because here's the thing is like there's like a category of cards where like I collect the card. Okay, here's what I'll say. My card ladder showcase has all of the cards that I would consider PC. Like, I don't know why. It's just like there's less pressure maybe or something to make a nice post or
all the
as soon as
tags and stuff.
Yeah, as soon as I get it, and I guess it's also just practical and convenient because as soon as I get a card, I put it into my card ladder collection for tracking anyway.
Yeah.
So, and plus, like, I don't feel the pressure on my card ladder showcase to like take the perfect picture with the perfect lighting and the perfect background because it's just all scans. That's how it works. It's just nice scans.
Yeah. I keep thinking about Brian's show and thinking about how I want that for like Panini 1-of-1s because you know a lot about that, and because listening to it, I got the sense that you wanted to learn more about Exquisite. Like
Sure.
He asked the question, you explained why you don't collect it, then you explained about. I thought your point on like you didn't collect MJ because you saw it as like it's not playing years, but also you feel like that's sort of LeBron's era of cards, and MJ has 90s, and I thought that was just a great point. Obviously, it benefits me greatly to hear you say that because I like LeBron Exquisite cards, and it makes me feel more excited about why I collect it.
Sure.
But by the same token, I would just love to learn more about Prism Blacks, for example, or Nebulas, or you make like a ranking of, the best 1-of-1s where it's select optic, vinyls, nebulas, or I don't know. I don't know how you make the rules. You have to make rules, because you gotta put some guardrails on it to make it not get out of hand. But something like that, where I would learn more about Panini stuff.
Yeah, 100%, dude. And you know what? If it gets hard and like you're looking at it, you're like, man, this is gonna take a lot of thought. This is gonna take some market research. I'm gonna have to get some pictures cropped. Just ask ChatGPT, and then you've got some great cards.
Then you'll know how to get it in chronological order. That's all it can help you with.
Right. Exactly. Now, I think Carvin, the architect of Exquisites, has an issue with maybe that I feel like Michael Jordan cards the Exquisite era is LeBron's era.
It's definitely not. Like, I know what you're saying. Like, it is Jordan and LeBron and Kobe's because Jordan wasn't exclusive with Upper Deck. Kobe was playing. LeBron was playing. The only real argument that I liked was that it's LeBron's rookie year is what really launched the product. It's the same as why Topps Chrome is so popular because it was Kobe's rookie year.
Yeah.
And it's the same as why Upper Deck is Exquisite is so popular because it coincided with LeBron's rookie year, and that was, a bit of luck of fate, But I still think that those three have a claim to the Exquisite era. Not equally, but they're all there.
Yeah. Yep, that's totally fair. Yeah, I was making the point sharp, but like there's definitely nuance on that point.
Plus, you gotta give yourself reasons as to why you're not.
Yes.
You can't collect everything. Like you have to make rules for yourself. Otherwise, it's like, what am I doing?
Correct. Exactly right. That's what this all boils down to. It's something that like I've like had like a startling realization over the last few months that like my collecting focus is not nearly as disciplined or as strategic as I would like it to be or as I thought it was.
Did you think it was?
I did think it was, yeah.
But it's not zero. I mean, there is some strategic.
Yeah. There's a lot to it, but like, it's a natural progression that as I thought about it more and more, I'm like, you know what? I really need to like get laser sharp with this. And there's room for improvement here.
That's what,
and that boils down to reasons, that it boils down to like, I really need to justify and come up with the reasons. And I need to like stop letting what's currently for sale dictate what's available to me and start thinking, here are the cards that are out there that I need to find. And if they're not for sale, I need to find them.
Yeah. I'm really not a fan of, he's making fun of your Le'Veon Bell PC. I'm really not a fan of like telling people what cards they should have. Like if I see your PC, I digest what I think you like, and it's really easy for me to be like, Chris, you got to start collecting Jordan Exquisite. It makes no sense that you don't have it, given what I see. But like, I don't know what your limitations are. I don't know if you have financial limitations or you've got some qualm with playing years or jersey. Like, I don't know your full situation, so I just don't see the point of being like, you need this card or else, I'm invalidating your whole PC. I think that's a tough situation. It is still your PC, not mine.
Of course. Yeah, no, that's it. That's exactly right. And, everybody doesn't need to have the same list. And there's not necessarily, and nor will they, but my list in my buying decisions, I should be able to rationalize to myself quite, confidently,
But his rules, the way he structured the rules, I think resonated with most of the 90s guys. I'll include myself in that. Like, I see that list and I'm like, yeah, that's pretty right.
Yeah.
And it's right because of the rules he put in place. And we all sort of like, remember that picture of the MJ Grails or whatever? It was like a picture that was floating around for a few years where it had like the green, and it did have them like ordered, I think, and it was like 40 cards or so. That list ended up being pretty similar to that tier 1. So I think we all sort of agreed to it already. So it was just kind of putting it on paper and then extending it out into more cards. So I think we all kind of like knew those rules going into it anyways, but it's good to write them down.
Yeah. Yeah, that's...
We answered like 2 questions in over an hour, so you guys are aware.
Thank you. I got another title from Stiff, by the way. Thank you, Stiff. Yeah, so, okay. Let's go on to some other questions here. Cardinal Sports Card says, what card ladder feature do you think is the most underutilized? And I've got one that, for me, like, okay, so sales history properly utilized. Like, that page,
right.
It's a ton of action, and it should. Great feature. It's amazing. The one that I don't see a lot of people taking screenshots of or talking about or, like, but I do see a few people using this, and the few people that I see talking to me about it are, like, really smart people. And that feature is Showcase.
Yep.
Like,
damn. All right, I keep thinking now.
You could have the same one, but like, Mohammed, who sent in a few questions tonight, like, was talking to me the other day, and he was like, "Hey, I saw you just added this Tyreek Hill Prism Gold to your Showcase." And I was like, "Yeah, he's looked at everything because I have, me and Christina's whole collection is in my Showcase." And so he goes in and he looks at it, and he knows what's in there. And he knows, and he sees something new come in, and he's like, "What's going on with this?" I mean, that's pretty shrewd, I think, for guys to like. And I look at other people's Showcase, like there's a Calvin Johnson rookie Superfractor 1 of 1 in there. Then I'm just like, damn, that thing is so nice. It just,
yeah.
It's so sick. Yeah.
The real ones know what cards I add to my PC before anyone else, because I add to my card ladder collection using the PSA cert.
Yep.
And it just like it's the scan that they have before I get the card,
Yep.
and it's in there before I even have it. So if you want to know what I buy, it's always in there. It's like right away. But yeah, I wish more people used it so I could just see more cards.
Yeah, totally. Like, look, and like using it is so easy. You don't need to do anything, but just set the filter to date added, and then just browse it and just see, like, here, like somebody, okay, Greg Fisher from a colleague of ours is adding 2003 Topps Chrome refractors. Like, okay, this is he's building a set like that's. But look at this, this is sick. This 2013 Crusade Dwayne Wade insert. Okay, just keep going here. Someone's got an 06 Paul Pierce. Okay, Greg has been adding a ton of nice cards. Okay, let me see if I can find somebody else as well here. Like, this is sick. Like a Bruce Smith PMG.
Right.
I mean, PMG Red from 97 football. I just look through here and I just get ideas, and then, if I like, okay, somebody just posted a Michael Jordan Competitive Advantage PSA 9. Like, that's a sick card. So now I want to say, okay, it was added July 20th, so that was yesterday. So then I go and I start looking at their PC.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh. And then, but be careful because this is how I ended up with the Jokic Prism Black.
Is it really?
Yes.
No shit. That's amazing. Well, there you go.
Yes. All right.
I'll add one more feature. Sales history save searches.
Nice.
I never see anyone talking about that. And I use it. That's what I use the most.
Talk about how you use it.
Well, sales history is just like, there's so much. Like it's almost impossible to digest. But I like to check up on certain things that sell. Like I have a save search for LeBron cards that sell for more than $2,000. I don't know why I chose that number. I just did. I just want to see what expensive cards sell every day. There's so many. There's way more than I thought. Someone bought up like 7 gold Pulsar LeBron PSA 10s today. Like it was all very meticulously done by one person. You could tell because they all sold back to back to back to back. Different sellers, all PSA 10s, all like some variation of a gold color, all LeBron. So I was like, oh, maybe if someone's trying to put together some, I just like seeing that stuff.
Yeah. That reminded me, somebody listed a bunch of nice Michael Jordan PSA 10 inserts on my sleds recently. Who was that? Okay. All right. Next question from Cage Lawyer. Cage says, should we actually want to 10x the hobby?
In terms of participants or value?
Great distinction. And I think all of it. If we 10x it, it all 10x's.
Depends on the timeline. I think we should want to strive for 10. I said yes to this because there wasn't a timeline specified. Now, if the timeline is 1 year, like we saw, obviously I want to say no. But we should always strive to 10x over, 20 years or whatever. Because if we're not 10xing over a really long period, then we're not keeping up with inflation. We're not keeping up with growth and humans and stuff like that. So I think we should strive for that.
Yeah, I like that. I think that the time horizon point is a great point because like Mind Cycle had a nice YouTube video today, hobby positivity versus hobby negativity. And one of the points he made, it's a nice 8-minute video, very consumable.
Perfect. And
one of the points he made was that too much hobby positivity, too much FOMO, too much, man, sports card prices are going up. We have to buy these now, jump on it, invest, which, he was sort of characterizing like when people say positivity, it really seems like that's what they mean. And if that's and that's not there are people who believe in just positivity, but not investing hype. Some people do say positivity and they just mean, I just want a general pleasant disposition, but putting that to the side, okay? The people who say positivity, and it's really kind of a code word for like pumping the card market. What he said in response to that was the issue with this is that style of positivity ended up leading to more negativity than any of the negative the quote unquote negative content possibly could have created because it contributed to and fed into a bubble.
Yeah.
Burst. And the bursting of that bubble created a ton of negativity and a ton of downward pressure and a ton of downward momentum that never had to be created if there wasn't this overabundance of positivity in the first place.
Yeah, I get that. When you say 10x, I definitely immediately think of like the generic content creator that's like, we got to 10x the hobby when Fanatics jumps in, guys. Like, we're going to be just wait for the next thing, wait for LeBron to retire, and we're it's like that kind of crap.
Yeah.
So I get that part of it, where it's kind of a gross statement of like, let's just 10x the hobby just because I want to get 10x my money.
Right. Exactly. So here's a way of thinking about this question: is 10xing okay? So like on Card Ladder's industry section, I can see that in June, the secondary market for trading cards had 177 million in sales volume. So, like, are cards going to get to 1.7 billion secondary market volume? Like, is that a realistic target? I guess is a question.
Well, when I was like buying some random LeBron exquisites, I would show you the cards. You know, we always show each other mail days, and I'd tell you the price, and you always are like, man, I think that card should be X. And I always took it as like, you weren't just saying that blindly as like, oh, I think cards are, you know, I think cards are undervalued and everyone should jump in. Everyone should start investing. I took it as like, yeah, you just like believe in this space and you really believe in the cards themselves, and you just think, you know, money isn't as important to you, and you would just like rather have cards, like you just like them that much, you know. And so you and I will always sort of share that piece of the optimism and positivity towards the hobby, where we just think more people could benefit from having fun in the space, and, you know, buy less yachts and have more sports cards and people will be happier. You know, that's kind of our take, versus this should be the space in which you build your entrepreneur business and retire young and, you know, get rich quick. You know, it's different. Like, we actually think this stuff is undervalued in the sense that you could build collections and have fun and keep it long term. You know what I mean?
Totally. Yeah. And I thought that was a great way to put it. And like, maybe let me put it like this. Yes, that stiff. I love that one. All right. Less yachts and more sports cards. All right. A way that I would put this is like, okay, so Winston Churchill once famously said that democracy as a form of government is the least bad of all the other options. You know, so he's saying, like, look, no form of government is perfect, not even close, and neither is democracy. It's just the least bad. That's all that it is. And then I would say, with respect to cards are the least bad way for me to recreationally spend my money and my time. I'm not saying they're perfect at all. I'm not saying, you know, that there's not plenty of flaws with the whole system and everything, because it is. But I've surveyed the landscape of hobbies and things to do and stuff. Cards are the least bad. I enjoy it quite a bit. So, yeah.
And you feel like you're not getting crushed with volatility like you might in something like crypto. It's not boring in the sense of, like, I don't know, coins or stamps. I don't know those markets, but, like, you know, it's a little more volatile, a little more exciting than some other things. So your cat's kind of in the middle. Plus, you just, you know, you like the history of it. You like the status that comes with building the collection. Sport, you really enjoy sports. It's kind of this perfect blend, you know?
Yeah, and it's also like stupid, or not stupid, but just like lizard brain stuff. I just like the way I look. I like
see card by card.
Yeah, caveman stuff. I like the way they look. I like the way they fit into my hand.
You like how they smell?
I like how they smell. Yeah, it's just, you know, I like how unserious they are.
Yeah.
I like all those things about it so much. Those are big appeals of it, for sure.
I was at a jewelry place with my wife a couple weeks ago. We were like cleaning our something. I don't remember why we were there, but she was like eyeballing a bunch of stuff, and some of the diamonds and all that stuff. I'm like, damn. I could see why people might want to even collect this stuff. You know, like lizard brain is like, damn, that is shiny. I get why this stuff's expensive. This stuff's cool to look at. This is like her version potentially of like, please don't start getting addicted into jewelry hobby, or if that's a thing, please don't, because it looks expensive.
Yeah, 100%. 100% there. Lizard brain is a thing, right? Or am I just like...
No, that's a thing. Yeah. I always think of caveman, but I definitely know lizard brain is a term that's used.
Yeah, okay. To like describe like prehistoric...
Yep, dinosaur stuff.
Yeah. Okay, and I wasn't like confused with like lizard people, because that's a very different thing that I'm not trying to talk about.
I think you're good.
All right. Okay. All right. This question is from Fan Tomas for Cards. He says, "Are personal collections built for life, or are they built to sell someday?"
Man, good timing. You're on your game tonight for like the timing of these questions.
Dude, these questions were good tonight, and I felt it coming together as I was putting these questions together.
Yeah, you're building like a little story tonight with like this episode on how when you drop the questions. People always, I always see people that are like, "Oh, I'm gonna leave these to my kids." I take that as like, when you know the term coffin cards. I guess you're gonna die with the card. I don't know, man.
What
I
if
don't
the
know.
kids don't want the cards?
It's just so far in the future
It is.
that it's really hard for me to like process this question.
No, that it's very idealized to say like I will have this collection for life. You know, it's like it's planning for the unplannable. I had a collector message me a comment on this, and she said this. This question kind of reminds me of when people work hard and build their lives in one city or town, and then when they retire, they sell most of their stuff and they just move to Florida.
That's kind of what I was gonna go at a little bit. I was thinking like, who's to say that when I turn 70 or something or whatever, and I decide like I'm not in the community anymore, I don't really chat with anyone, I don't make content anymore, and my collection's there. It hasn't changed in a couple years, and I want to take up something new for the last whatever years of my life. That would be the point where it's like I'll just sell all that and move on to the next thing.
Yes. Christina, did you have something?
I was gonna say like so every New Englander
Yeah.
like retire to Florida.
Yeah. I see where Josh was going with that as well. And like the way that the thought that this spurred in me was
I like that.
I like that too. The thought that this spurred in me was this is almost like when you build a collection, like it's like you're building your home, you're decorating your home, you're putting roots into your community, which we do in cards as well. Like you put a lot of work and time and effort, and before you know it, you've built this thing, this life, this personality, this common ground, and so on and so forth. And like, why would you want to give it up? It would take a scenario of like retirement or transition to a new phase of life,
yeah,
which happens, which definitely happens in cards and in the arc of one's life as well. Definitely happens. So there's no right way.
We can't predict that far out.
You can't. There's no right way to do that.
There's no way I'm giving up my PC now. It's too goddamn impressive and took me too fucking long to build. There's no way.
Yep. Indeed. Okay. Vinny Slabarino
Always enjoy the show.
says, always enjoy the show. Other than cards and sports, what do you think is the most common interest among all the group of people who will find themselves together at the National? In other words, what else do we probably have in common besides cards and sports?
Anytime you and I talk about anything but those two topics, it gets weird fast. It's like, oh, how was your travel? I don't care. Actually, no. Did you buy?
Well, TV shows have broached
There you go.
And pizza, yeah. Alpha.
Pizza. Well, I kind of forced that one on you. You didn't really like. You're like, I like Domino's, so I'm sort of.
And I like Elliot's as well.
He has no taste, Josh.
I am unsophisticated. I'm a peasant of pizza.
TV shows. That's a good one. I think that one crosses everyone watches good TV now. It seems it's like the most common thing.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, the chat has a few suggestions here. Carvin says alcoholism.
I did not say that one, Brendan Ryan. I would never say that on the show. Gambling.
Perimeter Collectibles says body odor. Yeah, 612 Gems is gambling. Love Basketball Card says addictive personality syndrome.
Do you feel like people are more smelly at the National than you would find at a sporting event or some like big concert or something? I feel like it's pretty on par.
I think it is pretty on par. I think the hobby has a very healthy level of making fun of itself.
Yeah, okay, there you go. Yeah, sports goers and concert goers are too serious. Like, we're here to win, and like.
Right. Right, exactly. Okay. All right. I didn't have a good answer to this one. So I like some of the ones that people put in the chat.
TV shows.
TV shows.
That's a good one.
Yeah, TV shows.
That's-
All right. Yeah.
This is going to be, what's the play today, boys? What's the Succession? Is that going to be our thing?
There was a high level of consensus around The Office as well when we were doing our Office content for a few months there.
Yep.
Brian Pelaya asks, has there been an artificial pump for the National over the last month? An artificial pump.
I don't know. Is there something to be gained from pumping the National?
I don't think it's artificial. I think it's excitement. Like, I think that it's like
David Owen said it smells like burnt raccoon inside the National.
It doesn't smell that bad. Maybe I just don't have that good of smelling, but
why does he know what burnt raccoon smells like?
Quite.
do you feel like you're just like dying of odor when you're smelling and like bad smells when you're there? I don't.
No.
Okay.
I think that's what some collectors say, so other collectors don't go.
Yeah. Maybe.
Or it's precautionary. It's like, look, this could happen, so let's just think about it.
I just feel like it's a law of numbers. Like, if you get that many people in a room, someone's bound to smell. Like that's just how it works.
Fair. Okay, so
What was the question?
Yeah, back to Brian's question. Is it an artificial pump for the National? Like, there was another question that came in that was pointing out that there is a ton of national-oriented content.
Yeah.
It feels like there was more this year than ever before, and I can't find the question right now. But
Well, I mean, like, when I hear the term pumping, I'm usually thinking of like some mischievous act where someone's trying to benefit, through financial gain. Is that even possible with this?
yeah, right. That's a good point. Right. So, what's the dump part of the pump and dump?
Right, exactly. Oh, I'm selling my stock in the National. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. But
Well,
there could be like sponsorship things going on or something.
True.
That's so maybe, but yeah, that's just something to be conscious of. I think it's just like if there is a sense that there's too much, but us in the hobby, we get skeptical and we start getting standoffish if there's too much blue skies
True.
about anything. We don't like it. So I get it.
I've been on record shilling for this National in terms of the comeback from post-COVID and post-AC. So, like, I guess I'm guilty of this.
Yeah. Well, it's almost like it's like things. The context changed. Like once, a few years ago, like it wasn't the topic du jour in the hobby to make all these national videos and like really hype it up, But now it kind of is.
That's why I do think the Fanatics thing has an uphill battle to fight against National, because there is like a lot of momentum around the National itself with the branding and just like the word national and stuff like that. It would be hard to overtake all that.
Totally. Yeah, it would be. All right. I guess maybe like, all right, we've talked about that topic now. Okay. Let's get to some other questions here. All right.
Actually,
here is one of the pressing questions. I saved it for now as a nugget for anybody who lasted into the 90-minute mark of the show. Cali Dreamin' 84 says, does Bol Bol put the Suns over the top as the favorites in the West?
I have not seen Bol Bol play basketball, but apparently he's like the next Hakeem Olajuwon or the next, I don't know.
Josh, have you pitched Stiff on moving to Phoenix yet, so that he could watch Bol Bol all season long.
Well, with the idea that like that'll eventually coerce you guys into moving, I thought about that, but then I was reminded of the story where you guys were in LA and Chris and Stiff was in. I guess he was in Illinois and he drove to Minnesota for you. You reminded me of this story where like Stiff doesn't fucking want to live with you guys. No, it doesn't work.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very, very true. Okay. All right. Do you have any comments on why the Sun who will be the Suns' point guard next year, and will it be you?
Apparently, it's gonna be Bradley Beal. I don't know.
Still plenty of time to fill
This
out.
definitely feels like this is kind of like my thing that I don't love about Kevin Durant, where he, no matter where he is, he sort of feels like he's like the GM and the coach, and he feels like he's so fucking smart. Yeah, we don't even need defense, guys. Like, whatever. We're just point guard. What's a point guard? You don't even need that. And it's like you're still a player. Like maybe just. I remember the comment with Kyrie. It was like Steve Nash is the coach technically, but we're all the coach. Remember that?
Yep.
Like comments like that, and he was going on Twitter about how you don't need defense. And I'm like, I mean, kinda, because like the Nuggets turned into like a top 10 defense towards the end of the year. Remember, their stats came out, and they ended up being like a top-rated defense in the playoffs. So like it kind of matters. So maybe don't say that.
Yep. Okay. Ben Cross Country Runner 1, formerly known as Ben X Crunner, says, do you ever feel like you lose perspective or become desensitized to how rare and cool so many cards are because of platforms like Instagram? Because I definitely do.
Yes.
Christina strongly says yes to this, to becoming desensitized to rare and cool cards because you see them a lot on Instagram.
Especially when the one owner reposts them over and over again.
Yep, that can backfire.
The only card on that list of the hierarchy that I don't feel that way was the Credentials Now MJ. That card like hasn't sold. Nobody can post it because they don't own it. I don't know anything about that card, frankly. Like I know Credentials and I know the Now and the Future and all that stuff, but like that card is kind of the only one that I just feel like is a real ghost.
Yeah. That's a thing that's a real phenomenon in the hobby market, and kind of the way it works is like a card can actually be too good. It can be too rare. It can be too hidden from view, and it actually loses prestige and status as a result. I don't think that applies to the Credentials Now because we're very familiar with the Credentials Future out of 72.
True.
So the Credentials Now is always sort of back of mind, kind of like what the PMG Red might do for the PMG Green, maybe, or maybe to a lesser extent, because like PMG Greens are still kind of visible. But like the Jordan like Masterpiece 1 of 1s, or even the 98 PMG Gem Masters, it's too, yeah, exactly. This is JJJ Gambino says Nat's Flair Masterpieces are in the same boat. Yes, they are. Those cards, harkening back to this idea about objectively assessing cards, those cards are better cards than any of the non-1 of 1s. That with maybe the exception of the PMG Green, I guess. I don't know. You really got to think about stuff like that. You really do, because like if a card is too far out of sight and out of mind, it can really have a negative effect. So that's the flip side of this, Ben. Like the point is a good point, but the other side of this that's a concern is like if a card is out of sight and out of mind, that's a problem too. We can forget about it.
Yeah, I thought the starting 5 is too rare. It's just like it's like obnoxiously rare where nobody really owns it. So there's not really any prestige to being in the club of owning it, because only like frankly weirdos own that card because it's probably fake, and it's just such an enigma. Like you said, it's too rare.
And that's the difference. Is like a card that's out of 5 from the 90s might never be seen today, especially because it came out of hoops. So, like, God, we don't even know how many of these even got pulled.
But like the Prism Black might be too rare, but like we know about Prism Black. There's quite a few of them. It's consistent each year. We know it's coming out. We know each player has one, so it's less of an issue.
Right. Yeah. And go ahead, Christina. You had something.
I can't even find the out of 5 from 2020, and we live in breaker land of the world, where like broken on fucking lives, like, and I still can't find this card.
Okay. Well, fair counterpoint there.
I've just always felt like 50 is the perfect number. I know we can argue about that forever. I just like, the rubies, the PMGs, the gold refractors, it's proven out over time that 50 is like a nice balance of, it's definitely really rare, but it's not so rare that you can't build a community around it.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Like, and here's kind of the thing too I think about. It's like, it's not just the content. It's we live in breaker land. Okay, let me just jot that down really quick, Steph. Okay, so it's not just content creators here. It's not just content creators here. It's also marketplaces that, like, look, so like, dude, if this card came out 25 years ago, this is Anthony Edwards, Flawless Logo Man RPA 1 of 1. And everything else was the same. Like, didn't have social media, didn't have ways of communicating and sharing images online, didn't even have eBay for cards yet. Like, this came out in 1998. Dude, we might never see an image of that card. We might never see that card. That card might be a unicorn that never is seen or heard of ever. But we saw it because it sold on Golden a little over a year ago. That's why we saw that card. So, like, the integration of marketplaces, breaking, and content, all those 3 things are putting cards into our sites that we might otherwise literally never see.
Yeah.
Never see it. I like it better this way.
Which way?
The way we have it now, where big cards are getting pulled because there's so many breakers and there's so many people opening products that, like, a bunch of the product run is getting opened, and lots of these big cards are coming out, and then they're coming to auction, and we see them, and we know we get an idea of what they're worth from the open market, so on and so forth. It's not perfect, and it does dilute the specialness of them. Without a doubt, it does. But I prefer it to the alternative, which is that we don't know when anything is ever pulled unless we get, like, a Beckett magazine article about a special super collector who it just so happened to come out of the local shop. And otherwise, we just never hear of or see these cards at all, and they just seem like they don't even exist. I prefer this world to that world.
This is similar to my hand serial number, where I don't want it to be like that today. Like you said, I prefer knowing where everything is, but it does give this kind of interesting story about, like, the masterpieces from the 90s, and it gives us this interesting mystery in the past that we don't have to deal with now because we've got technology to solve it.
And we still get it too. Like, where's the Luka Prism Black 1 of 1?
Yeah.
But
it just hasn't been.
Right, probably, exactly. But we still get less of it though. Like, but it's less of it. Like, whereas 90 stuff, it's too much. Like, dude, come on. Like, we should know where the 98 Gem Masters is. We should just know where it is.
Agreed.
And there's a much better chance of that stuff happening in today's era.
Steph Curry, though.
Steph Curry as well. Exactly.
I think those 2 cards haven't been pulled.
Yeah. And the Curry gets a pass, sort of, because, like, that came out 14 years ago. Yeah.
Yes.
Different era.
Man, that's going to be, if that Luka ever gets pulled, that's going to be some fun content for a while.
Yeah. That'll be cool.
Yeah, when I pull it, it'll be great content.
We tried. We lit thousands of dollars on fire. We're done.
Just hopefully it's not an owner on the ilk of the Mahomes finite.
I'm not
Okay.
done.
All right. There's still so many good questions remaining. Okay, really cool card says, can you rank LeBron's non-autograph patch rookie cards?
No, I don't like those cards. Don't care.
Fair enough. I definitely
Wait.
can't do it.
Can I rank? I'm being slightly facetious. Can I rank the non-auto patch cards? I'll tell you the number one.
Okay.
His duels with Kobe and MJ, Logo Man.
Yeah. Yep. That.
I know 04 has some really cool stuff, like quad patches out of 10. I know that like Tim really likes those, so if Tim likes them, they must be good. And I think his rookie year has some stuff as well, like the extra exquisite 03 stuff. I think people like those because they're like really big patch windows. I just don't know enough about those markets.
Fair enough. When somebody sends in a question like this, and we have another one coming up in a second, I always ask them back, well, what's your list? And maybe
Yeah.
So maybe really cool cards can come up with a list and send it. And you know what? We'll follow up next week if you'd like to do that. Okay, cards I like says, are LeBron's 2003 rookie year cards more similar to the 90s era, or are they more similar to the ultra modern era?
Man, I didn't know how to answer this one.
There's elements of both.
It is, but like, I feel like I need to pick one in the spirit of the question.
And you know what makes this question hard, I think? Really hard is that we want to say more similar to the 90s, but the truth is probably more similar to ultra modern.
That's right. Because it has, like, 90s doesn't even have autographs or patches, really. And so it's definitely, like, aesthetically, you know, in terms of, like, the boxes coming out of suitcases and being expensive and being more geared towards breakers, there's all these things that make it more ultra modern. But we want it to be more 90s because it's older, it's, like, the first year of it. It's, like, technically closer chronologically to the 90s than it is to the ultra modern. So, yeah. What you said is correct.
Yeah. Yep. But just because it is more similar to ultra modern, probably on balance, that it's definitely not ultra modern. There is not a product like Select with 3 tiers and 5 1-of-1s in each tier. Okay, so like it's like that's the risk of like that's the thing that we worry about. I think is like
It's just
analogizing something to ultra modern, and ultra modern has such a proliferation of supply.
Yeah, the eras to me go like pre-war, vintage, junk, 90s, then like memorabilia, auto era, then ultra modern.
Yep.
Does that sound right?
It does sound right.
I hate to use the word junk, but like that late 80s, early 90s was like junk.
Yeah, it was like the same things that we hate about the overabundance of supply today. It was that back then, except no autograph cards, no parallels, just nothing but base.
Ooh, that sounds so horrible. Just imagine if there was like no. Oh my god, that'd be so horrible. If it's just all base, it'd be puke fest.
I guess you had like the glossy parallel and like the name on front Thomas error. Like you had to find like an error card, you know, to like.
Yeah, lame. Gary Vee would have a field day.
Okay. All right. Collectorgram says, with Panini's end on the horizon, what are the top 5 all-time Panini inserts, NBA specifically?
Inserts? Are we messing this up? Are we saying inserts or parallels? Like, I need to know what I'm doing here. Am I being technically correct? What am I doing?
So Collectorgram is a very knowledgeable collector, but
so he means inserts.
He does mean inserts, but 2 of the top 5 on his list are base sets.
Yeah. Okay. So like, am I about to make a top 5 ranking with 2 people sitting across the table, and like one of the 10 is an insert? Is that what we're doing?
I mean, no. Okay. Look, let me just give you his list. All right. Here's what he wanted to say. Here's his list. Because like I can't make this list. I'm not. Yes. Number 1, and he got very specific with it. All right. He said number 1 is the 2018 Kaboom.
Good.
Number 2 is Downtown from 2016 to 2018 only, and he rules out the 1 of 1 Downtowns.
One and 1.
Or, I'm sorry, 1 and 1 from the product 1 and 1. No 1 and 1. Number 3 is the 2019 My House insert, either a color match or a parallel number to 10 or less. Number 4, this is where number 4.
He had to have been trolling.
Number 4, he says 2014 Prism. 2014 Prism, he says, for number 4. And then number 5, he says the first year of select basketball, which I believe was 2013.
I think it's pretty well accepted that Panini has done a very, very good job with the base sets and the parallels and the gold prisms and the blacks. I don't think they've done a good job with inserts. Like I just there's nothing that really like excites me.
Correct. Sorry, the first year of basketball select is 2012. The first year of football select, I think, is 2013. Yeah, I hear you. So, but look, like he asked the question. I thought it was a good question, and then he had an answer to it. And I think at least numbers 1 through 3 were responding.
I don't think I could name 5 inserts from Panini, let alone like my top 5.
Right. Fair. Okay. Let's see. What else do we have here? Here's a fun question. Bruin Killer says, will you or Josh go to the theater to see the Barbie movie or Oppenheimer this weekend?
I keep seeing these like ads or content around like which of the 2 movies. I'm like, why do I have to pick one of these? Can I pick neither?
Right. Fair.
I literally don't even know I don't know what Oppenheimer is about. I don't know anything about that. I mean, I would guess I would choose that because I definitely don't give a shit about Barbie.
Yeah, don't be too cool for a Barbie movie.
I mean, Ryan Gosling's pretty good, so.
Right. See, you know a little bit about that movie. You know more about Barbie than. Oh, George says making a double feature. There you go. All right.
I'm not a big movie theater goer. I'll just wait till it hits the streaming.
All right. Same. I hate going to theaters these days.
I won't even watch it after it does hit the stream.
Too loud.
I will say I went to a theater with my son to see Mario, and I got a little bit of nostalgia for like getting the popcorn. We sat in the front row. It was kind of neat, but it was like a once a year like nostalgia only kind of deal. It wasn't like a every weekend I'm going to the movie
You
theaters.
sat in the front row?
I'm sorry, like the front of the back. You know what I'm talking about. Come on.
Okay. I was going to say.
That's the pro move. That's the pro move. Yeah, no.
All right. It's about that time of the show for a Brax Ball Cards question.
Dude, MK Sports Cards thought that guy was serious.
No.
Yeah, he did. He sent me. He's like, "What the heck, man?" I was like, "It's a joke, dude." He's like, "Oh, thank God."
Well, is it a joke? I don't know. So, let's not ruin
It better be.
Let's not tell MK that the Easter Bunny is not real.
It's true.
Is Easter Bunny real? Okay.
The Easter Bunny, no, but Santa is.
So, Brax actually sent in 2 different questions. That's a first in his history
Should I
as a contributor.
go to the bathroom?
Yes, this is a good time to go to the bathroom.
He writes novels.
So the first one that he sends in is for a topic is he just said me. That was his suggestion. It's just me. Okay. Then he put a question in the comments section of the post, and here's what that said. As fellow celebrities in the hobby, how do you balance your desire to make smart, calculated investment plays with dealing with the throngs of salivating fans who want to monopolize all of your time while at the Nationals with an S?
Great.
I will be there slamming my diamond-studded Zion case on top of every showcase I see. because Brax always likes to announce himself with authority before making plays. But, but bro, how am I supposed to make plays that increase my holdings and the total value of my blue chip alternative asset portfolio when loyal members of Brax Nation are following me around like I just won the Fields Medal? I mean, you get it, right, bro? The price we pay for being transcendent and influential figures in the hobby. Nationals is a key part of my yearly revenue. A place where I move millions in assets and set the financial tone for the entire hobby market for the next year. But I can't do it when people are sticking cell phones in my face and asking for autographs all day and night. Your thoughts are always appreciated since we are contemporaries, but not equals, since your boy Brax has no equals, bro.
It's just like, this is like a different level of comedy where you've found your lane and you just really lean into it, and
Dude,
it's good stuff.
He said he will be there slamming his diamond-studded.
That's the part that I heard. I heard that part. The diamond-studded Zion case. That's good stuff.
So what happens when Chris finds out that Brax is a 14-year-old who wants to be a dentist?
And it's all true? And this is all
This
true?
is all true.
Damn, that would be so.
And he's got like the Yeezys and like the side bag thing going, and
Yeah, like he's got his fanny pack across his shoulder.
Yep.
Well,
Yes.
well, then, if he really is a 15-year-old with the diamond-studded Zion case,
Who wants to be a dentist?
who's pre-dental,
Pre-dental at 15?
he's way ahead of the curve.
He's already interning with the dental hygienist.
Then, you know what? That I think we should take his question seriously. How is he supposed to make plays and move markets at the National if everybody's sticking cell phones in his face and asking for autographs?
Well, I think my favorite piece of content that I've heard around National lately is like this pivot towards buying all your stuff before the National because it's actually cheaper that way, and that's where the real deals are. So that's, if I'm going to help Brax out here, I think that's his move. And he's using National as more of a networking, celebrity, show-off type thing for himself. And he should be making his plays before the National. Should be dumping at the National.
Dude, that is the best zag of all National content.
I keep hearing it. Hearing it from the smart guys.
It's so good. MK was one of the early ones.
Yep.
And he's been driving the point home lately but many have made it, which is don't expect to be getting deals and finding your needle in a haystack. If you can't find your card among the millions of cards listed for sale online, the odds of you finding it by just sort of aimlessly walking around the show floor at the National.
Oh, my God, I've never seen that before.
What was the Mickey Mouse voice you put into?
Here's the grail. Here's the grail that I've been looking for nonstop. Like, that's just, that's unlikely to happen. So the pivot, the zag
Play.
is by somebody sent us a question about Iowa Dave had sent in a question about this a few weeks ago. Now it's all come back to me. That's the zag. That's the pivot, is go, and if you find your grail before the National, odds are very good that you'll be glad after the National that you bought your grail and that you didn't buy an overpriced base card at the National.
And then when you buy something pre-National, you get to call it inventory.
Yeah, so you can.
That's the play. You get to call it inventory, no matter what it is.
Nice. Yep, you get to do a little inventory management. Still many questions. I don't know if I want to ask the question.
Do it.
All right, this is from Publius13.
Your nemesis owns your grail. How does this play out?
Okay, all right.
I'll tell you, because someone asked me this recently.
Hold on, can I please clarify the question before you answer? The question is, he put a specific name, but we're just going to say it like this.
No, go on. Dude, it's not You're just the messenger. You're not. This isn't your opinion. This is Chris's.
No, just
Chris Publius.
look, I don't want to give any free promotion.
Yeah, facts.
So, all right, your nemesis owns your Grail card. Okay, your nemesis.
He put a name on this. He put a name
Put
on
a
this.
name on this. Yeah.
Just text it to me, Christina.
You know who it is. Okay, so your nemesis owns your Grail.
Justin owns my Grail. Oh, she did text me. I just see the little thing come down from my screen.
Okay,
Oh, so
So-
so I got this.
wait.
No,
The rest of the question is,
Fucking already said the question.
how
dude.
does your nemesis owns your Grail? How does this play out?
Look, I got this question, okay, and like I answered. If, like, if this happened to me,
Yeah.
I would take my max. If like the question was, if your nemesis has the out of 5, all 5 of the out of 5 green discos,
Yes.
what do you do? And I said I would get on live. I would take my entire Maxi Kleba collection, throw it in a dumpster, and light it on fire.
I agree. I think you gotta take drastic measures to show that you refuse
You will
to
not-
engage.
You will not be intimidated.
Yes.
Exactly. Nope. No chance,
I
buddy.
do not
In fact, I'm gonna make.
terrorists who ruin the hobby that I love.
In fact, you're gonna be the one holding that bag. I'm burning my PC. It's like you're going. It's like the kamikaze approach. You're going down, but I'm going down, but you're going down too.
That's something only Christina would come up with.
I agree with her.
Well, look, I messaged Publius13 directly because I was very interested in this question, and I said, and I did a gotcha. Okay, I said this question is invalid because if that nemesis came into possession of the card, then it cannot be a Grail. So I turned it on.
If that person had the Penny Hardaway Gem Master,
It ceases to be a Grail. I know it's hard, but that's the pivot I have to make. I have to do it.
I'm somewhere in between burning my Penny Hardaway PC and just figuring out a way to hate that card.
Yes. See, that's I go towards the hate the card. You and Christina went towards light the PC on fire. Either way is fine. Either way.
It's like, yeah, oh, that card's probably fake anyways, you piece of shit. It's probably
There.
you probably fuck. Yeah.
There. All right. That copy is now just forever tainted. Now the print run just went
I
down
think
by
he wants to know if we'd engage with that person.
one. Oh, right.
No.
And that's where we're just like, nah, do the opposite, where it's like anti-engage.
Disengage.
Disengage.
Remove the
Anti.
possibility of engagement.
There you go.
I asked Justin posted his business card.
Everyone has
I'm
to
sorry,
know.
was
No,
I
wait,
talking?
this is- yeah,
No.
but I'm gonna interrupt you. Everyone has to know that it's pronounced Justin Gee.
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 Okay, well.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Okay, anti-engage. Okay, all right.
You're
So-
like, there's a word for that, dummy. It's called disengage.
Yes, disengage. Okay, so I messaged Justin after I saw his fancy business card, which said Justin or 610 Sports Cards, high-end basketball card, buy, sell, trade. Right? Yeah. So I remembered our panel that we did with him at the Mint.
Yeah.
And I said, this card looks great or something. Or I said, I'm going to approach you with a Zion case full, or a Pelican
Diamond
case.
encrusted.
Yeah, full of base cards when I see you at the National. And he goes, you may approach, but you may not engage.
You may approach. He said it that slow, but you may not engage. That's what.
Engage.
Someone look up his story about the hand serial numbering. I have to see it. It was so funny.
I don't know if it's still there.
I know it might be gone, but he said something. It wasn't like that exact phrasing, but it was something funny like that, where it's like, you may approach, but you may not. He's like, he sees you walking up with your diamond crusty case, and he says that.
You may approach, but you may not engage.
That should be the title.
That's such a good title.
That's the first time a title's been titled by a non-host of this show, I think.
Yeah, I don't know if it's valid, but it at least needs to be in the discussion.
Okay, all right. Well,
You may
we're at the-
approach. It's like a Star Wars thing or something. That's like an epic.
It's
You know.
hilarious. I don't know what it's from, but I loved it.
I need to get T-shirts made.
You may approach, but you may not. It's so badass. I love it. Yeah, it is like a Terminator kind of thing.
I enjoyed it quite a bit. All right. So, show title options. Oddly shaped watermelon.
I feel like you guys put that bag there to fuck with me.
How did you know?
Christina's the one who put it there. I would not have the wherewithal or the planning ability.
Well, you went live at like 9:03 Pacific, and I'm now picturing 3 minutes of like Christina like looking at you over your shoulder, like, oh no, it's not on the camera yet. Oh, there it is. Perfect. Go live.
Can I confirm or deny? All right.
I can confirm. I will not deny.
Next option: 5-minute long driveway. Okay. Next option: Fanatics Ladder. Fanatics Ladder. It was popular at the beginning of the show. Okay. Middle. All right. Less yachts, more sports cards.
Also, I want to point out we never got over the 84.5.
No, we didn't. We did have a surge to the mid 70s at one point, but the under hits. Okay. Invalidating your whole PC.
You may approach.
I like that. I don't know what context that came up in, but I like it. Lizard brain. We live in Breakerland. Anti-engage. George hasn't counted 76 yet. And then the final option, a late entry. You may approach, but you may not engage.
I feel like we can't actually caption it. You may approach, but you may not engage. But we need to incorporate that into our lives more somehow.
We do. We should incorporate that.
I feel like that's a good advice to Brax's question. Just tell people you may like.
That's right. That's an answer.
Yes.
Yeah, you may approach, but you may not engage.
Like I'm tempted to make that to replace the hobby isn't valuable because it's pop. What was that stupid phrase?
Yes. This is the new phrase here.
Yeah, this is the better one now. I enjoy it. It's shorter. I can say it. I don't have to memorize it and pressure you to remember it 3 weeks on end. It's just better.
Yes, it is good. It is. Okay. Well.
So he DM'd you that phrase, or he said it in a story, or what is it?
It was completely organic. I was messing with him because we had that we had that thing at the Mint panel where I was like,
No, it was on the. He said it live.
No. At the Mint panel, I was like, I made fun of Pelican cases, and he was like, at the Mint panel, he's like, no, Pelican, like, don't say that. Like, anybody can come up to my thing. And then I saw him post his business card, and it said, hi in basketball. And so then I said, great, I'm going to approach you at the National with a Pelican case full of Prism base cards. And then he replied to my DM. He replied,
all right, you have to, when this show ends, you now must do this, what I say. Listen carefully.
okay, all right, let me write this down. Yep.
All right, you must screenshot your last thing that you said before he said that, and then get just that phrase that he said in the screenshot, and make sure you get his little avatar in the screenshot so we know it's him, and just that. So it's a small screenshot, and then you post that as a story.
Okay, all right.
And I will take all the heat of him getting upset about you posting that. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I got a late edition.
Okay.
win a free trip to Miami.
So like a promotion for your card.
Yeah.
Okay. I think everybody already knows you need that card, but
This is like a new marketing thing for her. She's like, let's change the title.
We get at least one question trolling her about that card for like a week for the last few months. She had the one this week about the if somebody owned all 5.
I feel like if she gets that card, it's gonna be a disappointment. She's gonna be bored for the what's she gonna do after that?
I already have a new rainbow I'm working on that I'm not telling anyone.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. You're just pivoting it over to another obsessive thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Josh, would you rather have dinner with Jay-Z or $500,000?
$500,000 cash money, baby.
But,
Jay-Z?
dude, but think about all the knowledge
No.
that Jay-Z
I don't even like
you.
I don't even care about Jay-Z.
Dude, yeah, that's a great meme. I love
Would
that.
you rather
There's
have
literally
$5,000 or 5 minutes with LeBron?
the real question is like $500K or like dinner with anyone of your choosing. Because even that, I'm like, $500K sounds pretty good right now.
Dude, I'd take $5,000 over dinner with anybody of my choosing.
$5,000? Like, Jesus.
Come on.
You're like, you don't even bother sending me the 500. I'll take 5.
Yeah, dude. Like, we could really push that and see how low I would go before.
You have $5,000 than an entire day with Michael Jordan.
Dude, what does Michael Jordan want to have me hanging around him all day for?
No, that I know, but like, just pretend somehow that he's like dying to have this day with you.
Then he should be paying me.
Like he's investing in a hoodie company, and he just like has to study you.
Look, if anyone is that like desperate to hang out with me all day, like I hang out with me all day all the time, I don't want to hang out with them. Like, let's be honest.
Fair enough. All right. Okay, I'm not reading that one. All right. All right. So what title are we going with then? Driveway?
No, I think it's got to be the watermelon thing.
The oddly shaped watermelon?
Maybe not. You seem like
it's good.
Not a hit.
It's good. It's just.
I feel like anyone who made it this far
it's good.
on the podcast is probably like dying because they don't understand what it is. It's a Trader Joe's New Mexico like reusable bag, and it's one of the New Mexico like jalapeno peppers in someone's hand.
There you go.
I
just slam through them again, real quick. Just rate them off real quick.
What's wrong with for the title? You may approach, but you may not engage. What's wrong with that? Why can't we do that?
Because you said it really bothered me when you said it would be the first time ever that it wasn't from our mouths.
It is worth. Well, I think we have had a few, maybe. No, I don't think we have. But it's worthy. Justin is worthy of this.
No, it's definitely the best of the bunch, in my opinion. But you threw me off with that little thing you said.
Just forget I said that. It still came out of one of our mouths. I inspired it, all right? I didn't say it.
Okay, so tell me how you're going to write it out. This is important.
It will be all lowercase, except, and this is the way Justin did it too, the word
all
not
caps.
is all caps, yes.
Yeah, is there ... or comma?
You may approach comma.
Okay, perfect. I don't like the ...
No,
you're trying to be too big. You're trying to be too fancy.
No, and this is exactly how Justin put it. So it's just true to the source material.
And then
don't worry about Stiff. Stiff already voted for it.
It does break the rule. See, that's where it's like.
What good is a rule if it's not getting broken once in a while?
Well, you tell me.
We are breaking the rule. Justin is an honorary host. We've done a panel with Justin.
Hey, no. Justin doesn't get to name the title. I offered for him to come on the live and debate you about number cards.
Yeah, so he basically was on the live. We were talking to him through the chat.
He refused.
We should honor this man. His love of handwritten serial numbers has been besmirched.
But that's why you're trying to get in his good graces.
Dude, and just think, it'll all be worth it. Just think of his face whenever this podcast title eventually comes across his phone. He's gonna say,
all right, well, I only agree to this as a 33% shareholder of this decision.
Yeah.
I will only agree to this if you do what I told you to do.
If I post it to my story,
Yeah,
Let me just
I will. I
the
will
screenshot.
post it to my story.
Let me just say this
Yes.
though. Justin Z has already influenced our booth at the National.
Okay, so just take that part away.
So cancel our I put it. Oh my god, I can't stand you two. I can't.
All right. Great show. See you guys next week, maybe? Who knows? Maybe.
A lot has changed since Card Ladder began. We started with 500 cards in our database, and now we have over 3 million cards and over 30 million sales.
For anyone asking who is the best, we putting our hands up.
With Card Ladder's sales history feature, we have virtually every card in our system. If the card you are looking for ever sold on one of these platforms, you can find it using Card Ladder's sales history, and you can add a card to your collection with just one click.
My time, none of you people can tell me to stop.
Plus, every card, no matter the last time it sold, has an estimated value that we calculated using our state-of-the-art player indexes. Unlike other apps, when you see Card Ladder's verified checkmark, that means a researcher personally vetted each and every sale.
We know what it takes to be reaching the top.
We know what you want, because Card Ladder was created by collectors for collectors.
Know what it takes to be reaching the top.
Join the innovators, not the imitators. Card Ladder 2.0, constantly innovating. Try it for free. See why Card Ladder is the industry leader in sports card data.
We know what it takes to be reaching the top.
Card Ladder 2.0.